She paused the wedding, then pressed play. The chapel was breathtaking. Sunlight streamed through towering stained glass windows, painting ribbons of gold and sapphire across polished marble floors. White roses lined the aisle in perfect rows, filling the air with a soft fragrance that blended with the gentle melody of a live string quartet. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, and nearly 400 guests sat quietly, smiling as they waited for the moment everyone had gathered to witness. At the front of the chapel stood Ryan Sterling. His tailored black tuxedo fit him perfectly. His hands were folded calmly in front of him, but his eyes searched the aisle with anticipation. When the doors opened, every guest turned. Emma Bennett appeared. She looked radiant in a timeless ivory wedding gown, her veil flowing behind her like a cloud. Yet despite the smile she wore, something about her expression felt different. There was a calmness in her eyes that no one could explain. Her father, William Bennett, gently squeezed her arm before walking her down the aisle. As they reached the altar, he kissed her forehead. "I'm proud of you," he whispered. Emma forced a small smile. "So am I, Dad." Ryan reached for her hands. "They're freezing," he joked softly. "Nervous?" "A little," Emma replied. The officiant smiled warmly at the couple. "We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Ryan Sterling and Emma Bennett." The guests listened with joyful anticipation. The ceremony continued peacefully until the officiant finally looked toward Emma. "Emma Bennett, do you take Ryan Sterling to be your lawfully wedded husband? To love him, honor him, and cherish him for as long as you both shall live?" The room became perfectly still. Emma looked into Ryan's eyes. Several long seconds passed. Then she slowly raised one trembling hand. "Please." Her voice was calm. "Wait." The music stopped immediately. The violinists lowered their bows. A murmur spread through the audience. Ryan chuckled nervously. "Emma." He leaned closer. "What's wrong?" She didn't answer. Instead, she carefully slipped her engagement ring from her finger. A gasp rippled through the chapel. Ryan's smile disappeared. Emma bent down and gently placed her bouquet on the floor beside the altar. Then she reached for a wireless microphone resting near the podium. Every pair of eyes followed her. She turned toward the sound booth at the back of the chapel. Her voice remained steady. "Please." She paused. "Press play." The sound technician froze. He looked toward Ryan, unsure what to do. Ryan suddenly spun around. His face had gone completely pale. "No!" His voice echoed through the chapel. "Don't do it!" He sprinted toward the sound booth. Guests jumped to their feet in confusion. "What is he doing?" "Ryan, what's happening?" Before Ryan could reach the technician, two security officers stepped directly into his path. He tried to push past them. "Move!" One officer firmly held him back. "Sir, please stay where you are." Ryan struggled. "You don't understand." His voice cracked with panic. "You can't let them see it." The technician looked toward Emma. She gave one quiet nod. The giant screen behind the altar flickered to life. A single frozen image appeared. Ryan's arms wrapped tightly around another woman. The woman slowly turned toward the camera. Emma's maid of honor, Olivia Brooks. The entire chapel gasped. Ryan closed his eyes. His shoulders dropped. For the first time that morning, he looked defeated. Emma never looked at him. She continued staring at the screen. The image remained frozen. Then everything faded to black. 24 hours earlier, Emma Bennett believed she was about to marry the man who had saved her life. She had no idea that before the next sunset, everything she believed about love, loyalty, family, and trust would be shattered forever. The man everyone admired. 24 hours earlier, morning sunlight spilled across the glass walls of Bennett Holdings, one of Chicago's most respected real estate development firms. Employees hurried through the lobby carrying blueprints, laptops, and coffee. Tomorrow wasn't just another business day. Tomorrow was Emma Bennett's wedding. Fresh flowers filled the office. Congratulations cards covered Emma's desk, and employees kept stopping by to offer warm wishes. Emma thanked each of them with a warm smile. When the office finally grew quiet, she leaned back in her chair and looked at the framed photograph beside her computer. It showed her mother, Sarah Bennett. The photo was taken during a family vacation. Sarah's arm rested around Emma's shoulders as they laughed together. Emma gently touched the frame. "I wish you were here tomorrow, Mom." A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Ryan Sterling stepped inside, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "I figured you'd forget breakfast again." Emma laughed. "You know me too well." He handed her a cup and sat across from her. "So," he smiled, 24 hours. Emma shook her head. "It doesn't feel real." Ryan reached across the desk and took her hand. "We made it." 3 years earlier, after losing her mother to cancer, Emma hadn't believed happiness was possible again. Ryan had changed that. He sat beside her through countless hospital nights. He stood beside her at the funeral when she could barely remain standing. When grief overwhelmed her at work, Ryan quietly handled everything without asking for recognition. He never pressured her. He never complained. He simply stayed. Little by little, he helped her believe life could still hold joy. Sometimes Emma wondered if her mother had somehow sent him into her life. Ryan noticed her staring. "What?" She smiled. "I'm just wondering how I got so lucky." He chuckled. "I was about to ask you the same thing." Emma stood and wrapped her arms around him. "I love you. I love you too." Neither of them noticed someone watching from across the hallway. Olivia Brooks, Emma's maid of honor. The moment Ryan saw her, he subtly stepped away from Emma. Only for a second, too quickly for Emma to notice. Olivia smiled politely. "Sorry to interrupt." Emma brightened. "There you are." She hugged her oldest friend. "I've been looking everywhere for you." Olivia laughed. "I've been putting out wedding emergencies all morning. I don't know what I'd do without you." Olivia smiled warmly. "That's what best friends are for." Ryan picked up his briefcase. "I should get going." Emma kissed him. "I'll see you tonight." "I wouldn't miss it." As Ryan walked past Olivia, their eyes met for the briefest moment. Neither of them spoke. Neither of them smiled. But something passed silently between them. A look so quick, it disappeared before anyone else could notice. After Ryan left, Olivia helped Emma sort through seating charts and last-minute wedding details. Everything seemed normal, until Emma's assistant entered. "Ms. Bennett." "Yes." "Mrs. Sterling is here." Emma looked surprised. "Ryan's mother?" The assistant nodded. "She'd like a few minutes alone with you." Emma exchanged a curious glance with Olivia. "I'll be right back." She entered the conference room, where Evelyn Sterling waited in an elegant navy suit. Evelyn smiled. "Emma, I'm glad you came. It's nice to see you. Please sit." Emma did. For a few moments, Evelyn simply studied her. Then she spoke. "You know, my son has always had a habit of trying to save people." Emma frowned slightly. "I'm sorry." Evelyn folded her hands. "Ryan has the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known." Emma smiled. "I agree." Evelyn nodded. "I'm sure you do." After a brief silence, she leaned forward. "Marriage into a family like ours isn't always easy. There will be pressure. People will question your decisions. Some will assume your success came because of Ryan." Emma frowned. "I've led Bennett Holdings for 2 years." "I know." Evelyn smiled politely. I'm simply saying powerful families attract powerful enemies. Her tone was calm, almost kind. I only hope you're prepared. Emma relaxed. I appreciate your concern. Evelyn stood. I truly hope tomorrow is everything you've dreamed of. She gently squeezed Emma's shoulder before leaving. Emma watched the door close. The conversation hadn't been rude, just unsettling. Back in the hallway, Evelyn walked toward the elevators. As the doors opened, Ryan stepped inside. Their eyes met. Neither of them spoke. Evelyn gave the slightest nod. Ryan returned it. The elevator doors closed. Neither realized Ethan Bennett had just turned the corner in time to notice the silent exchange. He frowned. Something about it didn't feel right. He couldn't explain why. But for the first time since Emma announced her engagement, a knot settled in his stomach. Something was wrong. He didn't know what. The phone that was never meant to be found. By late afternoon, excitement for the wedding had spread across the city. The rehearsal dinner was held at the historic Lakeshore Grand Hotel overlooking the Chicago skyline. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above the ballroom as guests arrived. Emma stood near the entrance greeting family and friends. For the first time all day, Evelyn's unsettling words had begun to fade. Maybe she had been overthinking everything. Maybe tomorrow really would be the happiest day of her life. Ryan appeared beside her carrying 2 glasses of sparkling water. For the bride. Emma laughed. You brought me coffee twice today. Now water. I'm making sure you survive until tomorrow. She nudged him playfully. I thought tomorrow was when I was supposed to look beautiful. Ryan smiled. You've never needed help with that. Nearby, guests watched them with admiration. They're perfect together, one woman whispered. I've never seen 2 people more in love, another replied. Even William Bennett couldn't hide his smile. Seeing his daughter laugh again after losing her mother felt like a blessing. As dinner began, speeches filled the ballroom. Emma's college roommate shared funny memories. Ryan's best friend joked about his terrible cooking before calling him the most loyal man he knew. Finally, Ethan stood. I've known my sister my entire life. The room grew quiet. When our mom died, I didn't think I'd ever see Emma smile again. He looked at Ryan. But somehow, you brought her back. Ryan lowered his head modestly. Ethan raised his glass. So tomorrow, I'm not losing a brother-in-law. I'm gaining one. Applause filled the room. Emma wiped away a tear as Ryan hugged Ethan. For a moment, everything seemed exactly as it should. No one noticed Olivia quietly watching Ryan from across the room. Their eyes met for only a second. Then both looked away. The evening continued until Ryan's phone suddenly vibrated. He glanced at the screen. His smile faded. I'll be right back. Everything okay? Emma asked. Just a work call. It'll only take a minute. He disappeared onto the hotel terrace. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Emma stepped outside. The terrace was empty. She looked toward the parking lot just in time to see Ryan getting into a black sedan. The car drove away. A waiter approached. Mr. Sterling asked me to tell you he had an urgent business matter. He'll be back shortly. Emma thanked him and returned inside. Still, something felt off. Nearly 40 minutes later, Ryan returned. The investors in London had an emergency, he said. It couldn't wait. Emma searched his face. Everything all right? He kissed her forehead. It is now. She wanted to believe him. So she did. Later that night, Ryan helped carry gift boxes to the bridal suite where Emma and Olivia would spend the night. Tomorrow, he said with a smile. Tomorrow, Emma replied. After he left, she and Olivia spent an hour talking about old memories and wedding plans. Eventually, Olivia yawned. I'm exhausted. I'll be there in a minute. Emma said. Alone, Emma began tidying the room. Then she noticed a smartphone beneath the sofa. It wasn't hers. Ryan must have dropped it. Smiling, she placed it on the coffee table. Then it vibrated. A notification appeared. Tomorrow, everything finally becomes ours. Emma frowned. Ryan had never mentioned a second phone. She picked it up, then set back down. It's not my business. She walked toward the bedroom. 3 steps. 4. She stopped. Why would a work phone receive a message like that? The screen lit up again. Don't forget to delete everything before the ceremony. A chill ran through her body. Her hands suddenly felt cold. She stared at the phone. Every part of her wanted to respect Ryan's privacy. But another voice whispered that if she ignored this moment, she might regret it forever. Taking a slow breath, Emma entered the passcode she had seen Ryan use countless times. The screen unlocked. One folder immediately caught her eye. Private. Emma hesitated. Then she touched the screen. Within seconds, the life she believed she was about to begin started falling apart. The first lie. Emma's finger hovered above the folder labeled private. For a moment, she considered locking the phone and pretending she'd never found it. Maybe there was an innocent explanation. Maybe she was about to betray the trust of the man she loved. Her thumb moved toward the power button. Then another notification appeared. Olivia, did you make sure she doesn't suspect anything? Emma froze. Her eyes drifted toward the bedroom where Olivia had gone less than 10 minutes earlier. No, there had to be another Olivia. With trembling hands, she opened the message. Months of conversations appeared. Then she reached a photograph. Ryan stood beside Olivia on a yacht, his arm around her waist. The date beneath it made Emma's heart stop. It had been taken 6 months earlier. The same weekend Ryan claimed he was at a business conference in Boston. No, she whispered. She kept scrolling. Another photo. Ryan kissing Olivia outside a restaurant. Another. Holding hands in a hotel lobby. Another. A mirror selfie inside an apartment Emma had never seen. Each image shattered another piece of the future she had imagined. Then she read the messages. Olivia, she still trusts you completely. Ryan, she has no reason not to. Emma covered her mouth to keep from crying. The words hurt more than the photographs. 3 years of love, reduced to 1 sentence. Had any of it been real? She closed the conversation. That was enough. The wedding was over. The relationship was over. She reached for her own phone to call her father. Then another folder caught her eye. Projects. Something told her to open it. The first file was a spreadsheet. Rows of numbers. Account names. Transfer dates. Then she recognized one account. It belonged to Bennett Holdings. Why were company records on Ryan's private phone? Another file contained wire transfers worth millions of dollars. Each one carried what looked like her digital signature. Except, she had never approved them. Someone had forged her authorization. Her stomach tightened. She opened another document. Transfer of voting rights. As she read, her pulse quickened. After the wedding, Ryan would receive temporary authority to represent her during a corporate restructuring. Buried deep in the legal language was another clause. Temporary authority could become permanent. Emma read it twice. Someone had designed the agreement so she could unknowingly surrender control of Bennett Holdings. Ryan wasn't just having an affair. Someone was trying to steal her family's company. Another folder appeared. Phase 2. Emma remembered Evelyn's words. Phase 2 begins after the ceremony. Her hand shook as she opened it. Inside were voice recordings. She pressed play. Ryan's voice filled the room. We can't move too quickly. Olivia answered. We've waited this long. Ryan sighed. After the wedding, Shields signed the restructuring documents without reading them. Olivia laughed softly. "She's always trusted you." Ryan replied without hesitation. "That's why this will work." Emma stopped the recording. She couldn't breathe. Everything around her suddenly felt unreal. Olivia was only a few steps away. Quietly, Emma slipped into the bathroom and locked the door. The moment the lock clicked, she slid to the floor. The tears she had been holding back finally came. She wasn't crying only because Ryan had betrayed her. She was crying because every memory she treasured now felt poisoned. The proposal, the vacations, the promises. Had Ryan ever loved her? Or had she simply been the easiest path to everything he wanted? After several minutes, Emma wiped away her tears and looked into the mirror. The woman staring back looked frightened, heartbroken, but beneath the heartbreak, something else had appeared. Resolve. She returned the phone to exactly where she had found it. Tomorrow, Ryan would think he had simply misplaced it. He would never suspect Emma now knew everything. She picked up her own phone. Instead of calling her father, she searched for one name. Daniel Harper, her attorney. It was nearly midnight. She knew she shouldn't call, but she also knew one thing with absolute certainty. By sunrise, nothing would ever be the same again. The wedding could not be canceled. Emma stared at her attorney's name on the screen. It was 11:47 p.m. For several seconds, she hesitated. Daniel Harper had represented the Bennett family for nearly 20 years. If anyone could tell her what to do, it was him. She pressed call. The phone rang twice. "Emma." Daniel's sleepy voice answered. "Is everything all right?" She tried to speak. Instead, a sob escaped. Daniel sat upright. "Emma, what happened? I need your help." 20 minutes later, Daniel arrived at the hotel. Emma quietly slipped out of the bridal suite while Olivia slept. At least, she hoped Olivia was sleeping. Daniel waited in a private conference room. One look at Emma told him everything. Without a word, he handed her a glass of water. She placed Ryan's second phone on the table. "You need to see this." For nearly an hour, Daniel examined every message, photograph, document, and recording. Finally, he removed his glasses. "This is worse than I expected." "Worse? I thought it was an affair." He slowly shook his head. "No, this is organized fraud." Daniel reopened one of the financial files. These transfers were carefully structured, small enough to avoid suspicion. But together, he looked at Emma. They total nearly $18 million. Emma stared at him. $18 million? And that's only what we can prove from this phone. He continued scrolling. There are shell companies, fake consulting firms, and hidden investment accounts. I believe someone has been planning this for years. "Ryan," Emma whispered. Daniel looked up. "I'm no longer convinced he's acting alone." He replayed Evelyn's message. Phase 2 begins after the ceremony. There has to be a phase 1. Emma closed her eyes. What if I just cancel the wedding? Instead of answering, Daniel opened the prenuptial agreement. Read page 23. Near the bottom, hidden among legal language, one clause stood out. If financial fraud or deception was publicly proven before the marriage became legal, every financial claim would become void. Emma frowned. "I don't understand." Daniel folded his hands. "If you cancel tonight, Ryan can claim you abandoned the wedding without proof. He could sue. He could challenge the company. He could freeze Bennett Holdings in court for years." Emma felt sick. "So if I leave, I still lose." Daniel nodded. "And so do your employees." Emma thought about the thousands of families who depended on Bennett Holdings. She couldn't let greed destroy everything her parents had built. Daniel leaned forward. "There is one way." Emma looked up. The truth has to become public. The wedding gives you 400 witnesses. The media, business leaders, friends, family. If Ryan is exposed before the ceremony becomes legal, he loses everything. Silence filled the room. Only hours earlier, Emma had imagined walking down the aisle to begin a new life. Now, she would walk down that same aisle to end one. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Daniel smiled gently. You don't have to feel strong. You only have to choose what's right. Fresh tears rolled down Emma's face. I loved him. I know. I trusted him. I know. She reached in her purse and unfolded a letter her mother had written before she died. Her eyes stopped on one sentence. My beautiful daughter, if anyone ever asks you to choose between love and the truth, choose the truth. Real love will never ask you to betray yourself. Emma cried openly, not because she was weak, but because she finally knew what she had to do. She folded the letter and looked at Daniel. What do we need to do? For the first time that night, he smiled. We start preparing for the wedding. Emma nodded. Not to get married. Daniel answered quietly. No, to make sure the truth can never be buried. Neither of them noticed a shadow outside the conference room. Someone had heard enough to realize one thing. Emma knew the truth, and whoever was listening wasn't about to let tomorrow unfold so easily. Someone knew. Emma didn't sleep. Even after returning to the bridal suite just before 2 in the morning, her mind refused to rest. Across the room, Olivia slept peacefully. Yesterday, Emma would have trusted her with her life. Now she wasn't even sure Olivia had ever truly been her friend. Every time Emma closed her eyes, another memory surfaced. Olivia at her mother's funeral, helping Ryan choose the engagement ring, laughing through wedding dress fittings. Had every smile been a lie? By dawn, Emma gave up trying to sleep. She stepped onto the balcony as the Chicago skyline glowed beneath the rising sun. She unfolded her mother's letter and read the final line again. If anyone ever asks you to choose between love and the truth, choose the truth. I hope I'm making you proud, Mom, she whispered. A soft knock interrupted her. It was Ethan, carrying coffee and pastries. I figured the bride might forget breakfast. Emma almost smiled. You sound exactly like Ryan. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Ethan frowned. You okay? Wedding nerves. Before he could ask more, Olivia walked out of the bedroom. There you are. She hugged Ethan, then casually glanced at his phone. Not casually, deliberately. Emma noticed. So, Olivia smiled. Ready to become Mrs. Sterling? Emma forced a smile. I guess we'll find out. The morning passed quickly. Hairstylists arrived. Makeup artists unpacked. Bridesmaids filled the suite with laughter. Emma smiled when expected. Inside, she felt completely detached. Around 10 o'clock, Daniel Harper sent a message. Everything is ready. Delete every conversation after reading. A second message followed. The evidence has been copied to 3 encrypted drives. One stays with me. One is in my office safe. Ethan has the third. Emma immediately deleted both messages. A moment later, Olivia appeared beside her. Who are you texting? Emma's heart skipped. No one. Olivia smiled. The bride isn't allowed to work today. For a brief moment, the two women simply stared at each other. Emma couldn't shake the feeling Olivia was searching her face for any sign she knew the truth. Then Olivia smiled again. There you are. I thought I'd lost you for a second. You could never lose me, Emma replied. The words tasted bitter. An hour later, Ryan arrived unexpectedly. The groom isn't supposed to see the bride, one bridesmaid joked. After the room emptied, Ryan walked over. You look beautiful. Thank you. He took her hands. They're cold. I miss my mom, Emma said quietly. Ryan hugged her. I'm here. For one terrible second, part of Emma wanted to believe him. Then she remembered the photographs, the recordings, the lies. She gently stepped away. I'm okay. Ryan studied her. Something had changed. He decided to test her. My phone died this morning. Can I borrow yours? Time seemed to stop. Emma handed it over without hesitation. Daniel had warned her this might happen. Ryan checked her messages, her photos, her email. Nothing. Finally, he handed it back. I guess I was worrying for nothing. Worrying about what? Emma asked. He smiled. Wedding stress. He kissed her forehead. I'll see you at the altar. After he left, Emma released a slow breath. She had passed the test, but Ryan still wasn't convinced. Outside, Evelyn waited. I think she knows something, Ryan whispered. What makes you think that? Her eyes. Evelyn smiled faintly. If Emma knew, she would have canceled the wedding. Ryan nodded. I suppose you're right. Neither of them realized Emma had no intention of canceling. She was coming to the chapel, not as a bride, but as the woman about to destroy everything they had spent years building. Across the city, Ethan slipped the encrypted backup drive into the inner pocket of his suit jacket. He checked it twice. He had no idea that before the day was over, that tiny device would become the most important object at the wedding. The evidence vanishes. By noon, the chapel was alive with activity. Florists made final adjustments. Photographers tested their cameras. The string quartet rehearsed as guests and business leaders began arriving. Everything looked perfect, exactly as Emma had planned. Only she knew this wasn't going to be a wedding. It was going to be the end of a carefully built deception. Daniel Harper arrived nearly an hour before the ceremony and found Emma in a private preparation room. You look ready, he said. Emma managed a faint smile. I don't feel ready. No one ever does. He handed her a small envelope, a copy of the arrest warrants. Emma looked up. They're already signed? Daniel nodded. The police are waiting nearby. Once the evidence is presented, they'll move in. Emma slipped the envelope into her purse. There won't be a second chance. There doesn't need to be. Daniel checked his watch. Where's Ethan? He should be here any minute. He has the encrypted drive? Yes. I hope no one else knows. A knock interrupted them. The bride will be needed in 15 minutes, the coordinator said. After she left, Daniel lowered his voice. If anything goes wrong, protect yourself first. Emma shook her head. I'm protecting everyone. Daniel smiled. Your mother would have said the same thing. After he left, Emma stood alone before the mirror. The dress, the veil, the bouquet. Everything looked exactly as she'd imagined growing up. Only one thing had changed. The man waiting at the altar. Another knock. It was Olivia carrying a small gift box. A wedding tradition. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet. It's beautiful. I wanted you to have something for me. Emma looked into her eyes, wondering if any part of their friendship had ever been real. Thank you. Olivia hugged her. I'm so happy for you. So am I, Emma whispered. The lie hurt more than she expected. Outside the room, Olivia immediately called Ryan. Everything okay? He asked. I don't know. She seems different. I noticed it too, Ryan admitted. Neither of them believed it was just nerves. Across town, Ethan drove toward the chapel with the encrypted drive tucked inside his jacket. His phone rang. It was Daniel. Where are you? About 15 minutes away. Drive carefully. Moments later, flashing lights appear behind him. A police officer pulled him over. Your license plate matches a vehicle involved in a hit and run. There has to be some mistake. Probably. I just need to verify a few things. Precious minutes slipped away. At the chapel, Ryan adjusted his tie. His phone vibrated. Olivia. I have a bad feeling, she whispered. So do I. At that moment, Evelyn entered. Is everything ready? She asked. Ryan nodded. Once they were alone, she spoke quietly. If Emma knows anything, we're finished. Ryan hesitated. I don't think she does. Then why are you worried? For the first time, Evelyn looked uncertain. I've spent too many years building this. I'm not going to lose because of one mistake. Back on the highway, the officer returned Ethan's documents. Wrong vehicle. My apologies. Relieved, Ethan started the engine. Nothing. He tried again. The engine sputtered, then died. He stepped out. Steam rose from beneath the hood. The radiator hose had burst. This can't be happening. The ceremony would begin in less than 30 minutes. He called Daniel. No answer. He called Emma. Voicemail. Desperate, he flagged down a passing taxi. I'll pay you double. I need to get to St. Mark's Chapel. The driver glanced at him. Running late for a wedding? Ethan touched the encrypted drive inside his jacket. You have no idea. As the taxi pulled away, a black SUV merged into traffic several cars behind, keeping its distance, following them. Whoever was inside wasn't going to the wedding to celebrate. They were making sure the evidence never reached the chapel. The chase to the chapel. The taxi weaved through downtown Chicago as afternoon traffic grew heavier. Ethan kept checking the time. 23 minutes until the ceremony. He pulled the encrypted flash drive from his jacket and held it tightly. It looked ordinary. A small black device no bigger than his thumb. It contained photographs, financial records, audio recordings, and every document Daniel Harper had recovered from Ryan's second phone. Everything depended on it. The driver glanced in the mirror. You look like you're carrying the winning lottery ticket. Ethan forced a smile. Something much more important. As they turned onto Michigan Avenue, Ethan noticed a black SUV behind them. At first, he ignored it. Then the taxi changed lanes. The SUV changed lanes too. The taxi turned. The SUV followed again. His stomach tightened. He looked at the driver. Take the next right. The driver nodded. The taxi turned. So did the SUV. Now Ethan was certain. Someone was following them. He called Daniel. I think someone's behind me. Daniel's voice turned serious. A black SUV? It's been following me since the highway. Daniel stood immediately. Don't come to the main entrance. If they're following you, we can't risk them finding what you're carrying. They're getting closer. Go to the east entrance behind the chapel. I'll meet you there. The call ended. The driver looked in the mirror. They've been behind us for a while. You noticed? I drive 12 hours a day. Without warning, he swerved down a narrow side street. The SUV overshot the turn before circling back. They didn't expect that, the driver said with a grin. For the first time all afternoon, Ethan smiled. Maybe they could still make it. Meanwhile, St. Mark's Chapel was nearly full. Business leaders, family friends, journalists. The wedding had become one of the city's biggest social events. William Bennett greeted guests, but something about Emma's behavior earlier still troubled him. She had hugged him longer than usual, almost as if she were saying goodbye. Daniel approached. You all right? William nodded. I should be asking you. You've checked your watch all morning. Before Daniel could answer, the coordinator hurried over. We're starting in 10 minutes. Daniel checked his phone. No message from Ethan. Upstairs, Emma stood alone before the mirror. Only Olivia remained. She adjusted Emma's veil. You look perfect. I don't feel perfect. Emma met Olivia's eyes in the mirror. If you ever hurt someone you loved, would you tell them the truth? For the first time all day, Olivia hesitated. I suppose it depends. On what? Whether telling the truth would make things better, and if keeping the secret destroyed them. Olivia paused, then forced a smile. You're thinking too much. Wetting nerves. She walked out. Emma whispered, Yes, they are. Downstairs, Ryan stood at the altar. I'll relax once she says I do, he told his best man. But Evelyn wasn't smiling. Something told her today wasn't going as planned. Outside the chapel, the taxi finally reached the rear entrance. Daniel was waiting. Ethan handed him the flash drive. Daniel slipped it into his inside pocket. You weren't followed? I think we lost them. Daniel nodded and turned toward the chapel, then froze. His pocket was empty. No. He searched every pocket. Nothing. His eyes dropped to the pavement. There, beside the curb, lay the encrypted flash drive, only inches from storm drain. At that exact moment, a delivery truck rounded the corner, driving straight toward it. Daniel and Ethan looked at each other. Then both men ran. The truck kept coming. One more second, and everything Emma had sacrificed would be crushed beneath its wheels forever. Press play. Daniel ran harder than he had in years. The delivery truck thundered toward the chapel's rear entrance. The flash drive lay inches from a storm drain. One wrong tire, and months of evidence would disappear forever. Ethan, Daniel shouted. Get it. Ethan dove forward, his knees slamming against the pavement as he reached for the tiny black drive. The truck's horn blared. Its brakes screamed. It stopped less than 3 feet away. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Ethan lifted his hand. The flash drive rested safely in his palm. Daniel exhaled in relief. We're not done yet. They hurried into the chapel. Inside, the wedding procession was beginning. Upstairs, Emma stood before the mirror. A gentle knock came at the door. It was her father. You look just like your mother, William said. I miss her today. I know. He smiled sadly. Your mother only worried about one thing, whether the man beside you would deserve you. Emma fought back tears. William offered his arm. Ready? Emma nodded. Yes. Not ready to marry. Ready to tell the truth. The chapel doors opened. Every guest stood. The music began. Emma walked slowly down the aisle. Ryan looked up and smiled. Emma didn't smile back. Halfway down the aisle, she met Olivia's eyes. Olivia smiled warmly. Emma returned a faint smile. Only Emma knew. It'd be the last one. Daniel entered the sound booth. He reached for the flash drive, then froze. It wasn't in his pocket. Ethan smiled and pulled it from his own jacket. You gave it back to me. Daniel laughed with relief. He inserted the drive into the media system. The files loaded. Everything was there. Emma gave the slightest nod. At the altar, the officiant began. Marriage is built upon trust. Ryan shifted uneasily. Then came the vows. Ryan spoke with confidence. I promise to stand beside you. I promise to protect you. I promise to love you for the rest of my life. When he finished, the officiant turned to Emma. Do you take Ryan Sterling to be your lawfully wedded husband? Silence filled the chapel. Emma looked at Ryan, then at the guests. Finally, she spoke. No. A collective gasp swept through the room. Emma removed her engagement ring and placed it beside her bouquet. I can't marry a man whose promises were built on lies. Whispers spread across the chapel. Ryan reached toward her. Emma, please. We can talk. She stepped back. No, we're done talking. She picked up the wireless microphone and turned toward the sound booth. Press play. Ryan's face drained of color. No, he rushed toward Daniel. Security officers blocked his path. The first video appeared. Ryan embracing Olivia in a hotel lobby. The second, the two discussing forged company documents. The third, secret bank transfers. The fourth, Ryan laughing that Emma would sign anything because she trusted him. The chapel fell silent. William Bennett slowly sank into his seat. Then the final recording played. It was Evelyn's voice. Once Ryan transfers control of Bennett Holdings, we'll remove him too. He's useful. Nothing more. Ryan stared at the screen, then slowly turned toward his mother. You plan to betray me? Evelyn said nothing. Everything he believed he controlled collapsed in an instant. The chapel doors opened. Police officers and detectives entered carrying arrest warrants. The lead detective spoke clearly. Ryan Sterling. Olivia Brooks. Evelyn Sterling. You're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, forgery, wire fraud, and related financial offenses. Handcuffs clicked. The chapel remained silent. As officers led Ryan away, he stopped beside Emma. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but somewhere along the way, I really did love you. Emma met his eyes. Love isn't measured by what we say. It's revealed by the choices we make. Ryan lowered his head. Without another word, he walked away. The wedding that began with flowers, music, and promises ended with the truth. The truth that set her free. For several long moments after the police escorted Ryan Sterling, Olivia Brooks, and Evelyn Sterling out of St. Mark's Chapel, no one moved. The music had stopped. The white rose petals still covered the aisle. Everything looked the same, yet nothing would ever be the same again. Emma stood silently, still holding her bouquet. She gently set the microphone on the podium. William Bennett was the first to move. He walked to his daughter. Tears filled Emma's eyes. I'm sorry, Dad. William placed his hands on her shoulders. What are you apologizing for? I almost destroyed everything you and Mom built. He shook his head. No, sweetheart. You saved everything your mother and I spent our lives building. Emma broke down in his arms. She wasn't grieving the man Ryan had become. She was grieving the future she thought they would share. After a moment, William smiled gently. Your mother always said courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what's right even while your heart is breaking. Today you proved she was right. Emma smiled through her tears. I just wish she could have seen it. William looked toward the stained glass windows. I think she did. Nearby, Daniel Harper addressed the guests. The evidence is now in the hands of investigators. Justice will take its course. He paused. This wasn't an act of revenge. It was an act of truth. One by one, guests approached Emma. Some hugged her. Others simply thanked her for having the courage to stop a lifetime of lies. An elderly business partner smiled warmly. Your parents built this company with honesty. You honored them today. Those words stayed with Emma. In the weeks that followed, investigators uncovered years of fraud, forged contracts, fake companies, and hidden accounts. Every file revealed another lie. Ryan eventually admitted that greed had slowly consumed him. By the time he realized what he had lost, the people he trusted had already planned to betray him. Olivia cooperated with investigators. Evelyn fought until the end, but the evidence was overwhelming. Months later, Bennett Holdings stood stronger than ever. Emma and William rebuilt the company around the values Sarah Bennett believed in. Transparency, integrity, community. Projects resumed. Employees kept their jobs. Families found stability again. One afternoon, Daniel arrived with another letter Sarah had written. Emma unfolded it carefully. My dearest Emma, life may not go the way you imagined. The strongest buildings aren't the ones that never face storms. They're the ones built on foundations that cannot be shaken. Never allow fear, wealth, or loneliness to make you compromise your character. Your name will always be worth more than anything you own. I will always love you. Mom. Emma folded the letter with a smile. For the first time in months, she felt completely at peace. 1 year later, a new housing community opened in Sarah Bennett's honor. Children laughed through the streets as families received the keys to their new homes. Beside her, Ethan smiled. Looks like Mom's dream finally came true. Emma nodded. It did. Nearby, architecture students toured the neighborhood through the scholarship program Emma had created. One young intern asked, "After everything you've been through, do you still believe in love?" Emma smiled. "I believe in love more than ever. I simply learned that real love never asks you to ignore the truth. It never manipulates your trust. It chooses honesty over convenience." The young man nodded. "I'll never forget that. I hope you don't." As the afternoon sun settled over the neighborhood, Emma unfolded her mother's letter one last time. She whispered, "Thank you, Mom." The pain she once believed would define her life had become the very thing that made her stronger. The future she thought she had lost at the altar hadn't disappeared. It had simply been waiting for her on the other side of the truth. With a peaceful smile, Emma turned toward the families celebrating their new beginnings. She never looked back. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to MindShadow Stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.
Every shadow holds a lesson. Thanks for watching MindShadow Stories. Subscribe for more unforgettable mysteries.